Welcome back to another edition of the Friday Golf Podcast. I am your host, Andy Johnson, and I am back at home after an unforgettable Masters tournament. I am not sure if we will ever see as thrilling of a tournament for my lifetime covering the sport, however long that goes after this year. I am just so grateful that I was there. Rory McIlroy just went through it all. There were the highs, lows, a lot of other highs and a lot of other lows on his way of capturing his first major championship since 2014, completing the career Grand Slam, becoming the sixth player in the history of golf to do so, joining Jack Nicklaus, Tiger Woods, Gary Player, Ben Hogan, and Gene Sarazen. In the players that have accomplished that. I was on the grounds and I followed the final group all day on Sunday. Brendan Porath and I did a long recap of what it was like to be on the ground on Sunday night on the shotgun start. But I mean, I don't know. I have a buzz, and I'm not sure I'll lose that buzz. It's a reminder that the Masters is just this unbelievable tournament because of the players, the history, and what it's been able to become with what winning a green jacket entails, and that gravity of that, and then the golf course. I mean, the golf course is just an extraordinary test. There are no places to hide. Every year going down there, I'm just amazed at how you just have to hang on, and in every part of your game, you just cannot hide. There are, if you're worried about your chipping, you're going to find yourself in some very difficult locations that you need to hit good chips, or else you could make a double or worse from, as we saw with Ludwig on the 18th hole or Rory in the 14th hole. Like, you can be in what seems like a fairly benign position, and everything can get away from you so quickly. It's just an amazing golf course. You have to putt it well, you have to drive it well, and you have to hit your approach shots great. I'm thrilled to be joined by Trevor Immelman, master champion himself, lead analyst on CBS. He was doing the telecast with Jim Nantz, which I thought was phenomenal. It was great. I had a long flight home that I was able to sit down and watch the telecast. I thought it was really spectacular. The team at CBS is doing a really great job showing golf, and I thought that was a extraordinary telecast, and was awesome to watch after being out on the ground. Out there with no phones, and kind of a very large patron gallery. You are seeing what you see, and relying on roars and kind of murmurs through the crowd to know what else is going on the golf course. And coming back and watching the telecast was just extremely additive, and it was a great way to relive what was a Sunday I will never forget. Big congrats to Rory McIlroy for getting it done, getting across the line, ending the drought, and launching what now looks to be a extraordinary major season set up for him. We'll see if he can snag another one or more with what's coming down the pipe with Quail Hollow just a couple weeks away. So Trevor joined. Big thanks to him for carving some time out in his busy schedule. I think we will be doing these after every major, me and Trevor. So lock in and enjoy this one. It was great to unpack everything with the great Trevor Immelman. All right. Before we get to Trevor, big thanks to B. Draddy. B. Draddy was our sponsor for the week. They had me scripted out, and I got to say, I don't think I've ever gotten so many compliments on what I was wearing from just random people. People will be like, I really love that shirt vest combination you got there. That's because I'm not necessarily I'm colorblind. I don't always put together the best outfits. So it was great having them coordinate and put together, a wide range for weather that was was delightful. It was always cool in the morning, and then it warmed up in the afternoon. So, I got to their full suite of clothes. I think that's the thing that I appreciate about them, is they have a awesome set of clothes. The stars really from this week, I think Brendan and I both wore the shacket. Their shacket is called the Bradshaw out. Tons of compliments on that. People really, really liked that. The shacket. If you don't have a shacket, I highly recommend it. It's great for spring and fall. It's just like a nice thing to wear in the mornings and nights, and you can dress it up, dress it down. It's very versatile. Also, the everyday vest. Wore this almost every day. I think Brendan did achieve the everyday vest challenge. That is just a extremely versatile piece of apparel. And then, there's tried and true polos. I wore they now have three different fabrics. All of them are delightful. I love the original cotton polos. Those are just like amazing on a cool day. On a, if it's topping out at 70, 75, there's nothing better to wear than those. They have their sport and then also their new cool fabric, which are both really good for when it heats up a little bit more. So a couple days I had those with a vest. It was just great. They have an offer for you if you use the promo code TFE30. That's TFE30 at bedraddy.com. You'll get 30% off your order. Big chunk of change when you add it up. So go support them. They've been partners with us for years. Great guys and great apparel. All right, let's get to Trevor Immelman. All right, Trevor, welcome in. I got to say, it had to be, when you come down from calling that sports event, I watched the telecast on my flight back home. I was out in the crowd or with the patrons all day long on Sunday, kind of living with the roars. I didn't realize like how much stuff I missed, but that's the nature of covering the Masters in person. For you, have you processed where this sporting event might sit in terms of all timers for golf?
First of all, awesome to be with you, man. Saw you from a distance last week. Didn't get up to you to be able to shake your hand and say hi. I know how busy you guys were. I was reading all the newsletters and all that kind of stuff, keeping track. But this is the first time I'm starting to think about it. Yesterday, went up to Congaree and really just tried to unplug from the whole thing and not think about it at all. We did 15 hours of live golf television on the weekend on CBS, which is it's kind of hard to even wrap your mind around the intensity of that. But as you start to let it settle and let your thoughts start to fall in line, it's an all-timer. You start to throw it up there with Jack in 86 and Tiger in 2019. And, Tiger had a bunch of them when he completed the Grand Slam in 2000, when he was winning those majors by, 8, 10, 12 shots all the time. He won 4 straight majors. This is going to be thrown right in there. The meaning of it. Look, winning a green jacket, and I don't say this just because I'm lucky enough to have done it. It might sound a little weird. That's not my style. You guys know that. But winning a green jacket is such a monumental moment in your life anyway. And now for him, after all these years of like anticipation and build up and heartbreak, for him to get that done is tremendous in its own aspect. But the fact that he's done it to join this list of 5 other guys, sort of like a Mount Rushmore with an extra little piece on it with 6 of them now, is it's going to be remembered for a very, very, very long time and spoken of as, where were you on that day when McIlroy felt like he choked it away every third hole, but eventually ended up winning? I mean, it was a remarkable week. Everything was great about it.
I think something that was telling when he talked afterwards was, and I think this puts it into perspective a little bit, is everybody was like talking about the time span of the chances at the career Grand Slam. And the pressure of coming there for this was the 11th year in a row.
Yeah.
With the chance to win the career Grand Slam, he kind of joked like, what are we going to talk about next year? but then when you add in what he added in was like my disappointment since 2011.
Yeah.
And so just if you looked at just the Masters, it's just this 14 years of disappointment and heartbreak. And whether it was one of the years that he missed the cut and bombed out, that's like one type of heartbreak.
Yeah.
Whether it's 2011 where he had the tournament in his palm on the back nine, and that's a whole different type of heartbreak. The middle period where he is resigned that he's so happy that he finished second, and a non-competitive second. Like he's just elated that he had a good memory leaving there. But then when you add on top of that the last 3 years of major championship, like the close calls, the not getting it across the line at the Old Course, LACC, and Pinehurst, it's just like, I think the thing that I took away from watching the telecast, when you were on the ground, you felt the energy. And like you felt these like raw emotions of like in the swings, and watching the telecast, seeing Rory's face.
Yeah.
And you could just see the enormity of the moment, the enormity of the accomplishment, and also all the things that he was trying to get through and get across the line.
Yeah. What was quite fascinating to me, and, Jim Nance and I sit down in Butler Cabin. Our little studio, our little booth is down in the back of Butler Cabin, right next to where you guys watched the presentation. So that's the room we sit in. And, I had that line at the end when he reacted and he went down to the ground, and you could see he was like so emotional about it. It almost looked like he was struggling to breathe at one point. And I had a line that I threw out there, something like, that's 11 years of built up emotion coming out right there. And then he came in, and Jim mentioned that to him in the presentation. And when he said, "Oh no, that's actually 14 years since 2011," I was like, wow. When we think of Rory, we think of, he's, wears his emotions on his sleeve. He's the most open and honest golfer out there. He answers every question. He tells you exactly how he feels, maybe even at times to his own detriment, because he can contradict himself because he's been around for so long and his positions have changed. And, people call him a flip-flopper, but it's like, hey, this guy's been around for almost 2 decades. He's allowed to change his opinion as he matures. But what I realized was, man, that even though he had won 4 majors since, he had won, I don't know, what is he, like 29 PGA Tour events, probably 20 DP World Tour events. I mean, this guy's won all over the world.
I think he's at 39 DP World PGA Tour wins.
Okay, so even though he's done all of that 2011 Masters was like a thorn in his side, man. It was the thing that has made him get up in the morning for the last 14 years. And that to me was, we learned something about him that we didn't know. Because a lot of people would say, okay, well, he choked that Masters in 2011, but then he went to the next US Open and won by, I don't know, how many won by, 6 or 8 or something like that? And they're like, oh, he's put the demons to bed. No. This has been bothering him for 14 years, bro. I mean, that to me was something like, wow, I just learned something about Rory McIlroy. And the atmosphere was so thick and heavy the whole day, all the way through. I mean, he was still super emotional when he came into Butler Cabin. Man, what a day. What a week.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. Like, the emotions were the outpouring of them. I was standing where, like, kind of in that tunnel where they walk off the green. And by the time he got to scoring, it looked, I mean, he couldn't control them. Like, they were like just flying out, like it, and it's just like you see like this. And I think like the thing with golf is people say like when you play competitive golf, you never forget anything. It's like you remember the smallest little details of these like innocuous rounds of golf.
Yeah.
But for Rory, I have to imagine that 2011 was kind of like the first time that sort of he felt that meltdown kind of happen, that sensation of that happen. And one of the hard things, and I'm sure you could speak to this much more than I could opine and project, but one of the hardest parts about the Masters is you have to keep coming back to the place that you've experienced failure or coming up short. And we've seen it with so many players, whether it's Ernie Els, Greg Norman, Tom Weiskopf, Phil for years. It took Phil forever to get over the line.
Yeah.
And now Rory, it's like the year after year of having to go back to that same place. Like, you just have that association, and that deep-rooted association. You could tell yourself, oh, I love this place, I'm happy here. But deep down, you have those bad memories.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, you can add Justin Rose's name to that list now. He's had so many close calls, now had 2 shots at it in playoffs. I mean, this one was a little bit of a gift. He played brilliant golf, and Rory kept bringing everybody back into it. But yeah, you're right. And I brought that up on Sunday when they got to the 10th tee. And, we realized afterwards that 2011 is clearly in his mind. And, he had to face that situation again of, here I am with the lead, 9 holes to go, and now I've got to hit this tee shot where it all started to come unglued last time. And he ended up making a birdie at 10 this time. And at that point was one of the many, many, many times during the week that I thought, oh, he's got this. I'm not ashamed to say it. I'm sure I'll take some heat for this, but whatever. On Thursday already, when he was, 4 or 5 under, going to the 15th hole? 4 under, was it?
And just over the green. Like, he hits that iron shot. It was a good iron. It came out a little flat.
It came out a little flat. He must have popped up his drive just a little bit and didn't quite catch it because he was quite well behind the guys he was playing with. But he still got an iron in. I mean, we know how high this guy can hit his irons. Probably,
I think we saw it the next 2 days.
Yeah,
or 2 of the next 3 days.
He could probably launch it up, higher than anybody since Tiger. At that point already, I was like, okay, everything is starting to play out for him to win this tournament. And then he goes double bogey 17, and shoots even par, and he's 7 back. And you're like, oh, there's another year that he's let slip by, coming in good form. And then he shoots 66 the next day, and you're like, okay, he's going to win it. This is it. He's back. No problems. And he keeps it going on the 3rd day, and it's like this is meant to be. And he's got the big lead. And then he hits it up the face on the first, just completely butchers the hole on Sunday. I mean, it takes 4 to get down from, I don't know, 60 yards or so.
With a lot of green.
Yeah, with the whole location all the way in the back. And you're like, oh no, it's heartbreak again for this poor guy. He plays the first and second and 2 over. He's thinking about playing them in 1 under. It's a 3-shot swing. And then he birdies 3, and you're like, okay, he's back. There's no problem. He birdies 4. And you're like, oh, he's going to win again. So from Thursday afternoon to Sunday afternoon, it must have been 10 times where I thought to myself he had lost it and won it. It was the most volatile mental experience at a major championship that I've ever experienced as a fan, ever had to go through as a fan. By the way, and I will just say this, it's not just Rory that's happening with. There's so many other players too they're up there. Rose shoots the 65 on the first day, and it's the same kind of back and forth. And then he shoots the 75 on Saturday, just putts terrible. He averaged more than 2 putts a hole.
That to me is like one of the sliding doors things about this is like the putter on Saturday afternoon just completely abandoned him. Like, yeah. I mean, I can't remember exactly which hole he 3-putted from, like 4 feet on 16. Was it?
Yeah.
Or 15. He 3-putted from 4 feet somewhere on Saturday, and it's just like he was hitting it so close and just getting nothing out of it all Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, do you want to know what's nuts? So he had 3 3-putts on Saturday, and he had 2 3-putts on Sunday, and still made 10 birdies on Sunday. But on Saturday, he averaged 2.06 putts per green, and the field average was 1.63. So, I mean, he just got absolutely crushed on the greens. So, but anyway, like I was saying, you go through these ebbs and flows with all these players. DeChambeau as well. You know, he would hit 2 or 3 good irons in a row, and you're like, okay, he's found something. And then he'd have a wedge into a green and hit it 20 yards short, and you're like, dude, what is that? You know, the wind's not blowing that hard out there. The lie wasn't, in a first cut or second cut, and something that you think could jump or come out soft. The amount of iron shots that he hit off of a tee on a par 3 and from the fairway that would go 20 yards long and 20 yards short, if he somehow finds a way to clean that up, he is a problem for these guys, man. He is a problem.
I want to get to Bryson. I think like one of the things that I while watching the telecast I was thinking about was, we talked about all the buildup of and the scar tissue of from 2011 on here. Also in the round, like everybody talked, when you talked about Rory before this year at the Masters, like how does he need to get it done? He needs to avoid double bogeys or worse. He has to avoid the quintessential soft bogeys. And like you think through it, he made 4 double bogeys.
Yeah.
He had bogeys like the 8th on Saturday where you're just like, what? How did you make bogey here? And you think about like the whole totality of the tournament, and it was like he literally had to overcome like every like obstacle of like what has snake bitten him at Augusta National.
Yeah.
The double bogeys, the big numbers, the soft bogeys, and he did it by like what tantalizes everybody about him as a player is just the sheer explosiveness in his game, the shot making, the ability to come out of the gate with 6 straight threes, like being able to go to gear that nobody else in the game can really touch.
Yeah. Well, I've said that before in this kind of setting and probably on TV as well. When Rory is at full flight, he's the closest thing we've seen to Tiger in his prime. There's been other players that are very good, Hall of Fame style players, major champions, world number ones, great players. Tiger Woods is on a completely different level to basically everybody but Jack. And Rory, one of the reasons why it's been so frustrating to watch him over the years is because every now and then he touches that. Like he dips his toe into those waters. But then he does ridiculous things to where you're like, it's head scratching moments and mistakes that those two players, Tiger and Jack, never ever made. But when he's really going, when he's feeling it, gosh, it is it's insane. When you start to think of the difference in quality, the spectrum of shots that McIlroy hit just on the second 9 on Sunday. I mean, okay, the tee shot on 10. I'm going to do a real quick run through, right?
Okay.
The tee shot on 10, perfect. Then he felt the face flip a little on the second shot, but it came out perfect and he makes the putt. So it's like an ideal hole. Then he blows the tee shot out to the right, probably 20 yards further right than what he's thinking at 11. So not a great shot, just an average shot. Then he gets a seriously lucky break on the second. That's got double written all over it. 12, he plays perfectly. 13, he decides to just push the 3-wood down the right-hand side, which I have no problem with in that moment. Then he's going to lay up. Then he hits one of the worst wedge shots that I've ever seen from a player that is playing well. Now, seriously, when you're struggling and you're missing a cut or you're not feeling well, you hit shots that are just rank, like horrible. Even the best players in the world. We've seen tops, we've seen shanks, we've seen all sorts. But when you're playing well and you're leading a major championship, what is he, leading by 3 or 4 at that time?
I think it was 3 right there.
That is, it's one of the worst shots I've seen. It's 80 yards. He's got, let's check the whole location. Whole location on 13 was 18 on. I think he had 87. He's got 70 yards to the front edge.
And a bull. He was from where he laid it. The other thing, he laid it up in the perfect place, which made the hole a bull.
Let me give you a little reference here. So, whole location 18 on 6 right. He's aiming over there. He's pushed this shot by between 15 and 20 yards with an 80-yard shot. I kind of wonder if there was a little hosel involved there. It maybe flew a little too straight for some hosel, but and then he gets to 14, and he hits a couple goodies, but he makes the bogey there. No, he makes the bogey because he comes up short at 14. 15, he then hits a beautiful tee shot and hits, one of the shots we'll remember forever when we talk about this Masters. 16, he hits a great one. 17, he hits a great one. 18, he hits the tee shot, and you're like, okay, he's got it going. And then again, with the wedge, 123, 124. He's missed his target there by quite some margin too. It's amazing the ebbs and flows that you go through when you watch Rory McIlroy.
I got to think about what he kept talking about. This was a question I wanted to ask that in the press center that I didn't get the chance to. He talked to Bob Rotella you talked about with Bob Rotella, all what they're working on is finding a feeling and getting to a feeling when he's playing golf. And I felt like that round was just like a toggle between getting there and being pulled away and having like the most intrusive thoughts you could have as a golfer. Like it was just this constant battle of getting to that point and getting pulled back out of it and getting to it. And I think there were like these moments where, you know, I think he was very concerned with Bryson, as he should have been at the start of the round. And it was almost like this match play situation. And like once he got done with Bryson on the 10th hole, or, you know, really when Bryson hit it in the water on 11, I think he knew it was over for Bryson.
Yeah.
Like you get out of the moment. You maybe get out of the feeling, and then you have to recenter back into it. And it was just this afternoon, in the end of it became this like this him just dealing with what was pulling him out of the moment was the enormity of realizing like I'm doing what I've never been able to do. And I think like there's the whole tournament, you saw this like Saturday. It's like, is he going to shoot 62?
Yeah.
And it's like, as a golfer, you get these, and I think this is like the hard, this is why people like you are freaks of nature. It's for mortals, you get 6 under or 5 under through 5, and you're like, oh my God, like I'm 5 under through 5. I better protect this.
Sure.
And it's like, you can't, it's so hard to stay in the moment or keep that feeling of like, I think it's like full free. Maybe it's like something like full freedom for him.
Yeah.
Where he just swings without any thoughts, because that's what it like to me, like the shot on 15. The only way you hit that shot is if you know there's no other option, and it's like you almost say to yourself, well, I've got to hit a great one.
Yeah. I think it's difficult to chase that feeling or even go search for it. I found that the more you search for it, the harder it is to find. It's one of those weird things to where you got to let it come to you a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I believe what he's trying to tap into, or what he's trying to communicate, sometimes it's hard to put these things into words. But what he's trying to communicate is basically the feeling of playing like a kid.
Yes.
Playing like you just love the game so much. Playing like you are just trying to hit great shots instead of not hit bad shots. And to me, the emotional ride that any Rory McIlroy fan was on during that day was, you could almost feel the moments where he started to get defensive and not play Rory McIlroy golf like a kid. And then when, like you mentioned on 15, where he was like, okay, this is it. You know, my back's against the wall again now, and now I got to make something happen here and go for a shot and just totally free this up. And I got to hit a 20-yard draw around this tree. And the picture was so clear to him. The moment was so clear to him that he just pulled it off. That's playing like a kid. And it was an incredible ride from that standpoint to see him grapple with all of that mentally. And I said at the top of the show, when we did the on camera, which was maybe at about 2:20 or so on Sunday.
3 lifetimes earlier.
It feels like about 3 weeks ago. But Nance asked me, you know, what are these two players facing today? And I said, well, it's completely different for the two of them. Rory is fighting the emotional and mental scar tissue of all these close calls. And that's the part that he's going to be battling. And for Bryson, it's more physical. He's fighting his iron game, his distance control. Can he find a way to hit, 13, 14 greens today and give the rest of his game an opportunity, because he was chipping and putting so well. And it ended up playing out like that. And McIlroy, he was fighting some demons there on that second night. And we could see by the reaction after he eventually made the 2-footer, even up to the last hole. He hits the beautiful drive in regulation, and you're like, oh, it's over. It's so far down there. He's got a sand wedge to the green, maybe a chippy gap wedge. Another terrible wedge shot way right. That one's probably 8 or 9 steps from where he's looking, so not a good shot by his standards at all. And you're like, oh, when he's throwing it away again. And then he's got a great lie, uphill lie. He can play that bunker shot any way he wants. He can go direct line with spin. He can go direct line with chunk and run. He can go up the bank with chunk and run and feed it towards the hole. He's got so many options. And he hits, considering the situation, like an 8 out of 10 shot out of the bunker. And you're like, okay, here we go. This is right edge, 5 feet, not a speed problem, slight downhill, just a standard Augusta National putt. And he starts this thing left edge. And you're like, whoa, I can't believe this. There's just no way that this guy can rebound from this sort of anguish and heartache. Surely now all the mojos with Rose. He's made 10 birdies. He's been given this gift. When we got to, let's call it like 7th, 8th hole on Sunday, and we've got that mini leaderboard on the right of our screen, bottom right corner of our screen, that has, 5 or 6 names on it. Rose wasn't even on that. He wasn't even on that leaderboard at that point.
The back nine was insane.
Okay. All of a sudden, he's like, I was way out of this thing. I now got a chance to win the green jacket. So he's feeling completely different going to the playoff hole. And so now you're like, McIlroy, there's no way he can rebound from this. The whole week's been a complete mess, up and down, all over. This is once too many that he's got to go to the well. And he pipes another tee shot down there and stiffs the wedge. And you're like, this guy, that's what I was talking about earlier. His great is up there with, the best who've ever lived, for sure. But he takes us on a hell of a ride, man. He's got a lot of Jordan Spieth in him.
Well, I think that's the thing about him that makes him so popular, right? Is like, he's kind of different than a lot of all-time greats. And I think that might be part of why, he's gotten to this point where he had these struggles for 10 plus years, is that if you think about like athletes in his class, they're all kind of crazy people.
Yeah.
Right? Like insane human beings. Like if you think about Tom Brady, you think about Michael Jordan, you think about, even LeBron James, like, I say that with bated breath as a Michael Jordan guy, but you think about these, like the all timers, like they are kind of like insanely driven. You watch the Last Dance, and Michael Jordan's making up things that people say to get him motivated for the next game. Like,
yeah.
And you have Rory, who's like very normal, like a very normal person, that has these like extraordinary gifts. And what you witnessed on Sunday was like very similar to a normal person trying to close out a club championship.
Yeah, trying to break 80 for the first time.
Like you're watching someone go through it, and like they got it. They have it.
Yeah,
they have it that day.
Yeah,
but it's not a straight road. Like we get accustomed. I mean, Rory McIlroy, especially now, is in an all-time great category. He's the best player of the post-Tiger generation. And I think we could unpack that some.
Well, you got Brooks there. You got Brooks up there as well. You got to show some respect there for sure.
You show some respect, but at the same time, like the entire portfolio.
Yeah, not as many.
Rory is just, and the time, the length he's been doing it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
18 years.
I'm just throwing that in there. I'm just throwing it in there for you.
So you have him now at this like stage, and it's like the personality types of other said athletes in this pantheon, I think, are like dramatically different than Rory McIlroy.
Yeah.
And that's part of it, right? Like there's not like this like robotic nature, this like, I think like what was telling is like Bryson was shocked that he didn't talk to him because he's a nice guy.
I'm shocked that Bryson is shocked.
I mean, just in 2019, Tony Finau came off the golf course and was like, Tiger didn't talk to me all day.
I just throw myself back when I was in that situation. I'm friends with Brent Snedeker. I really like Brent Snedeker. I don't know anybody who doesn't like Brent Snedeker. I did not say one word to him until he walked up to me as we were approaching the 18th green on Sunday and said, "Well done." Because I was 3 ahead, and so everybody kind of knew it was over. We were both up on the green. To me, and Bryson knows this better than anybody. I mean, this guy's a two-time U.S. Open champion. He's been in this situation multiple times. There's the focus and the intensity and the anxiety and nervousness and the manicness of a Sunday at a major championship. There's not much chatter out there, man.
What was he going to ask? Like, how was your breakfast?
Yeah, like what are we going to be talking about?
Bryce, I loved your latest Breaking 50 video.
About? To be fair to him, look, somebody asked him a question and he answered it. But I guess if I was in that situation, my answer would have been, well, no, I didn't want to talk to him. He didn't want to talk to me, man. We're trying to win the Masters here. This is not like, two buddies going out for a twilight 9 holes, having a couple of drinks and a cigar sort of thing with the music going. This is playing for legacy. On one side, you've got Bryson with this incredible major championship record in the last 5 years, trying to win his 3rd major in 5 years. I mean, can we just talk about how good that is and how amazing his major championship record is since that win at Winged Foot? And then on the other side of the tee box, you've got a guy that's literally trying to do something that only 5 humans have ever done. There's just not going to be a lot of talking on that in that round of golf. Too much intensity.
Bryson, I saw this from, I think the Twitter account was Click Clack. I think he would have been the 3rd player. It would have been him, Tiger, and Jack that had a USAM and 2 US Opens and a Masters if he had won. So like Bryson was playing for kind of like a very rarefied era, also not the same as the Grand Slam. And I feel like you can partition a lot of things together to make these like small little clubs. But like anytime you get into like I have 3 majors and I'm my combination of accomplishments are with Jack and Tiger. You get to this spot. I'm going to say it one more. I'm going to say it again. I've already said it. I'll probably say it again before the end of this pod. He is going to be a problem in the major championships for these other players. He has the mental build-up, the toughness. He has the self-belief. He has incredible talents. He has the crowd on his side for the most part. He creates
incredible and amazing energy around him, and people are excited to see him and be near him. He's going to win more majors. There's no doubt about it in my mind, man. No doubt about it.
I think there were a couple things I took away. Last year, I watched a ton of Bryson, a ton. And I thought it was like kind of this, like, at the Masters last year, I think like kind of public opinion shifted on him.
Sure.
But, and then you go and he has the US Open, which was like, you know, an incredible win. It was at a golf course you wouldn't expect him to play well at. And I think like one of the more compelling aspects of the Bryson Rory duel was it was unfolding at a golf course that both of them has had a very difficult history with. Like, we've seen some of Bryson's lowest moments at Augusta National.
Yeah, that's right.
And I think, you know, like it was fun a couple of years ago, you do Bryson versus Larry Mize, you know, Bryson hitting at 350 and Larry Mize hitting at 230 and playing to draw every year, you know. But what I'm so impressed by is how he's able to single out things that he struggles with and improve them. Last year it was the lag putting, and Sunday the lag putting was an issue.
It was,
but the first 3 days he was unbelievable on the greens, and he talked about how he worked so hard on lag putting. If you watched him on the putting green before the round, it was all lag putting work. That's all he was doing. He was putting to tee, using his yardstick to measure that. I think like this year, if you look at what he said, I have to get better and more comfortable hitting off uneven lies with irons.
Oh.
And I thought it was telling it. I think it was Jim said this on the telecast. Bryson, of all the holes at Augusta National, the hole that he's played the worst over his career is the 10th hole. And that's the hole that you have probably the most severe uneven lie without, like, there's no way to avoid the uneven lie. You could hit it down the left and get a little bit less uneven of a lie. But it's like the hole that like kind of illustrates the challenge of Augusta National, I think the most, like all the little factors that go into it. You have the elevation. It's hard to judge the wind there. And then you have this uneven lie, like this downhill side hill lie. And I think like his equipment makes that more challenging because they're longer clubs and, you know, he's got the big grips. And I think that makes that aspect of it. But like, here's the thing, like what you said, he's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
He has identified what he needs to improve. And throughout his career, we have seen this guy, he identifies issues and he goes into the lab. You know, that was a pun intended. And he gets after it, and he usually comes out a better player.
Yeah, look, I'm following all these players leading up to the tournament. The research starts about a month before, and he had been talking at the tournaments he was playing. He had been talking about the golf ball and having some issues with the ball spinning too much and not being able to control it the way he wanted to control it. And he clearly had the Masters in mind when he was making those comments, trying to make sure that he tightened all that stuff up. But yeah, he was able to give himself a chance to win, even with absolutely head-scratching distance control issues the whole week at the Masters. I mean, even on Sunday when he was
wild,
when he was kind of out of it, and he gets to 15, hits a great tee shot all the way down there. He's got nothing in there. And he makes this beautiful swing, and he's like leaning forward, posing on it. And we've got a great shot of him, and I'm like, well, he likes it. It didn't even hit the bank. It flew straight into the water in front of the green. I mean, that is that's a solid 10 to 12 steps from where he was trying to land it. And it's like, wow, normally at the level that these guys are at, which is brilliant. It's brilliant. for the most part, they are so good that as soon as they strike the ball, they know if it's good or not. Like right at impact, guys like that are like, oh yeah, be right, get in. Watch this, this is going to be close. Bryson poses on iron shots. They'll be 20 yards away from where he's looking distance-wise. That is something that he's going to have to really tighten up and pay close attention to. And if he finds a solution, he's going to win a major this year. For sure.
Yeah. I think if you play this out, if you game this out too, one of the things about Bryson and at the moment on the telecast, you thought at 11 he had to chase. This guy has to chase.
Yeah, I said that. Yeah, he had to. He was so far back, and Rory just got this good break.
But the reality of what ended up unfolding was he could have probably just hit the safe shot there, and because he and this is playing it out, and you can't really do this, but the reality, I don't think he was hitting the ball well enough either way to win.
No, but there's a way though. There's a way though. You can play aggressively and you can chase and not let that ball get left of the flag stick. I don't want people to misunderstand what I was trying to get at there. Ordinarily, at 11, you're pretty much aiming at the right edge of the green. Okay? So what I'm saying is he's got the short club. He's hit a brilliant tee shot. So this one is it's gonna start turning closer to the hole here. But I'm not talking about letting it drift left of that hole location. I mean, that's there's no space over there at all. So I'm saying be more aggressive. This needs to be, inside of 20 feet right of that flag stick. But yeah, still in his mind, he's not thinking Rory's going to make 7 down 13.
I mean, nobody did though. All those, I bet Justin Rose thought he needed to get to 12. Yeah, to have a chance. I think the thing that I'll take from Bryson is the Saturday finish. And it's the number of players that would have been able to, when they clearly didn't have the stuff, lift their games up because he wanted to get into that final group.
Yeah.
The final pairing. And the way to finish with 3 birdies on those last 4 holes. And move himself into right where he wanted to be. It's he manifested, I am going to get into the final group and I will get there. And it just it's to finish that way on Saturday, I just thought was you knew he was not at full flight with his irons, and to get there was just extraordinary.
Yeah. It was brilliant. And the putt he made on the last hole, drove it into the left fairway bunker. Quite a nice second shot. The whole location's all the way at the back right, and it's about 12 yards up the hill. So there's a lot going on there. You can't see the surface of the green. And he gets it onto the correct level and then makes that putt with everybody there. It's the defining moment of the day, really, is him making that putt and getting within striking distance of Rory. It's interesting because I think back to McIlroy as he's been maturing as well. We've had similar concerns and issues about him and with his wedge play and his distance control and his ability to really be precise with the irons. And Bryson is in that same slot. But he's so smart. He has incredible discipline, incredible work ethic. He's a thinker, as we all know. He's going to find a solution to this. I really do believe he'll find a solution to be able to tighten that up.
I think you just hit on something I wanted to touch on is I do think Rory's talked about, I'm the most complete player I've ever been.
Yeah.
And I think this year we've seen Rory take his golf game to a whole new level. With the, you take away like some of the irons late on Sunday, and I thought that was the most complete iron performance we've ever seen from him. In terms of distance control, I think that's been the thing that's kind of plagued him at Augusta, is like maybe the iron play wasn't exactly where it needed to be to, hit a lot of shots pin high, avoid getting in places we saw Bryson get into when you have distance control issues, where you get above the hole on 4, right? So I think he's gotten to this place, and I think like, I don't know if this is true or not, but like, to me, like one of the things that might be a reason why is Scottie Scheffler. I think Scottie Scheffler clearly taking the top spot in the game of golf last year by a stranglehold, where, even Rory McIlroy, and I've said this before on this podcast, I wonder how many times in his career Rory McIlroy has just been like, yes, Scottie's the best player in the world. Like, how many players has he said that about? Maybe never.
Yeah. He's flat out said in the media he wants to play more like Scottie.
Yeah.
And what he's trying to communicate there is less of what we saw on Sunday. He wants to be more consistent, more disciplined, more strategic, because that's how Scheffler is. Scheffler is just ordinarily so clean with the way he plays. Let's take a look how many double bogeys Scottie Scheffler made. How many do you think? He didn't have his best week.
Maybe one.
He ended up finishing 4th. Scottie Scheffler had 0 double bogeys last week. So that's kind of what Rory means. And I do think that he's taken that to heart, because they've got them placed together so much. And when you start to unpack the 2024 season for Scheffler and winning 9 times around the world, and okay, how's he gotten this done? What has he done in order to be that great for such a long period of time? Yeah, that's the thing, that if Rory can find a way, that'll be good.
So I think with this iron play, like, he's leading the tournament in strokes gained approach through 3 rounds. And something I jotted down is like, is Rory the most complete player in golf the way he's been hitting his irons this year? Because like, you start to look at him and there's no deficiencies, right? The putter is streaky, right? But when it's good, it's really good.
Yeah. And
when it's bad, it's not really bad. And I think like, you start to look at it and it's like, Scottie's probably is a better iron player, right? Yep. But Rory's got the ability to hit it 30 past Scottie.
Yep.
And drive the ball a little bit with a little bit more explosiveness. Scottie's short game's probably a little bit better, but Rory's short game's really good too.
Yeah.
And with the putter, Rory McIlroy's a better putter than Scottie Scheffler. Like,
agreed.
I think he had this moment last year where he's like, I'm not the best player in the world anymore. And to me, it feels like that has motivated him in taking his game to a whole nother level.
Yeah, it sure has. And that's why he tells the story of basically locking himself in a simulator and making the changes to his swing for a couple weeks in the fall that he made, was because he knew that there was something missing technique-wise in order to be able to have that consistency and be able to be on the level to compete with Scheffler week in and week out. If we go with recency bias, which is always such a heavy thing to weigh, then yeah, Rory is the most complete player right now. But I think we just got to pump the brakes and remember last year. Remember the golf we saw from Scheffler. Remember the golf we saw from Xander. It's been a bit awkward the start to the season with those 2 guys being injured. They're really not. Gosh, I don't even feel like Xander's out of second gear yet this year.
Yeah.
He's still figuring things out. Scotty's out of second gear, but he's not in sport mode yet like he was last year. And if Rory can maintain this level, I mean, think about the places he's won, man. Augusta National, Pebble Beach, and the stadium course. Whew, that's
and think about where we're going the next three.
Yeah. But if Rory can maintain that, and then those guys can get back up to their level, we're gonna have a lot of fun. You start to add in Bryson. You start to add in John Rahm. I spent quite a bit of time with John Rahm in the locker room last week. He made a brilliant 10-footer on Friday afternoon late just to make the cut. And then played some really good golf on the weekend. And if we rewind it a couple of years before, I mean, he was the Scotty Scheffler in what are we talking, 22, 23 times? He was the guy that was super consistent, being in the top 10 all the time. We've got 5 or 6 guys. Yeah, I'd love to throw Oberg in there. I'd love to throw Morikawa in there. That if we get to a tournament where they all bring their best, that's going to be a fun ride.
To me, to be with Rahm, he needs to get to a level of, I think, maybe happiness. It's hard to play great golf when you're unhappy. And it seems to me that some of the joy, if you juxtapose 2022 John Rahm and the way he talked in press conferences, the questions and a lot of the answers were centered around his love of the game, the history of the game. And now you flash forward 3 years later, he made a very interesting decision with where he would play his golf, and now he is seemingly fighting a battle of feeling irrelevant. His answers are short, they're snippier, and I just think, like, at the end of the day, playing golf unhappy, like when you're personally feeling dissatisfaction of some aspect, it can be anywhere in your life, is a near playing high level golf with that is one of the hardest things to do in the world. And to me, like with John Rahm, he just has to get to some level of acceptance, like accept that, hey, you know what, like no matter what you do on live, like nobody's going to, give you the credit you feel like you deserve. And look at Bryson as an example. Nobody gave Bryson credit for the work he was doing until he won the US Open. And now people are like, wow, look at Bryson. Like, look at this guy. Like, listen to this conversation we just had. He is a problem. Like, he's going to be a problem. He's going to win more. And that came from what he did at major championships, because nobody was like, look at what he's doing on live, and this is what he's doing. And John Rahm just has to accept that where I play golf right now, nobody is going to, say that I'm playing great because of the nature of the league.
Yeah, I mean, that's an opinion for sure. He seemed in good spirits to me last week. I would agree with you that the style of questions that he gets asked now is different to what it was a few years ago. And the views maybe... One of the things that it makes him fun to watch is he has a short fuse.
Yes.
And he's a unit, man. He's a big dude, a big, strong, forceful, like he's got presence about him.
There's a physicality to his game.
Yeah. And you just you know that he's there. And when you have that presence and you have this temperament that can just get caught on fire at any moment, it makes it fun for us to watch. Now, to me, the fuse is just a touch shorter than what it always was. There's maybe a little less patience in there, but there's no denying the skill set and the ability that he has to beat anybody in the game. So we'll have to see if now with the schedule that they have at Live, it may be a process of him still figuring out the best way to come to major championships in his best form. And we'll have to see how he deals with that. Bryson has very clearly figured it out. He knows exactly the formula that is needed. 5 of the last 7 majors now, he's been in the top 6 with that one win. He knows the system that he has to run, the routines that he needs to have with his playing schedule, how to be sharp coming into the majors. And it just appears that John hasn't quite figured that out yet. When you bake in last year's major performance, and then, sure, a great weekend here, but was never really in it. He was a 10-footer away from missing the cut. Had a great weekend, 70-69 to finish tied for 14th. So a bit of a backdoor action there. So in my opinion, super, super, super good, but needs to figure out what he's got to do to be ready to come into the PGA Championship.
Yeah, you think about Bryson and Rahm, they're like pretty diametrically different people. And to me, John thrives on the kind of like the iron sharpens iron
I like
approach that. Where he, like him playing, like you just think about the lead up and think about like how Rory wins this year. He plays a bunch of top flight fields. He wins 2 big tournaments at Pebble Beach in the Players, and you can't not believe that especially the Players experience helped him extraordinarily with the Masters, where he had the disappointed. He was disappointed he was even in the playoff at the Players. He had to feel similarly at the Masters. And then you have Bryson on the other hand. Like, I think Bryson, he's kind of introverted. I think one of the things with Liv is like, it's been really good for him to be away from the public eye. It allows him time to work on things, and he's not working on things in front of people, right? I think that's always was the thing that Bryson struggled with, was like the cameras and the attention and the week in, week out of the tour, where he was working through whether it was personal things, whether it was things in his game, was that day in, day out, week in, week out attention was not good for his game. I think the opposite is true for Rahm, where that was how that playing against the best players in the world, constantly measuring yourself against them, was what pushed Rahm ahead, and I think like, it's just hard. I think if you were playing I used to play a lot of basketball in my 20s, and I'd play pickup ball on the weekends, and then we'd play in the league, and like the league with refs and everything. And, I was playing a ton of basketball, and I always was amazed how I could play hours of pickup basketball. But you get into a league game, like a real game, the real competition. And this is not real competition of, like a major or even, any sort of organ.
Yeah.
You get in a league game and you play like 6 minutes and you're like spent. You're just like, oh my God. Like, I'm just like, I can't, like, I'm so tired, because that intensity ratchets up. And if you're not playing that regularly, you can't play long minutes in a league setting. And I think it's something similar going on with Rahm right now, is like, like not having anything that even comes close to replicating the intensity of a major championship, and then just being dropped in there. The Olympics, he had that great performance. That was what, 2 weeks after the Open Championship?
I'm not exactly, but it wasn't that long after. Yes, I'm not exactly sure, but it was pretty close. Where he had the lead and then kind of threw it away on the Sunday with Scheffler shooting 62 as well.
You think about his year last year; it was like a ramp up. Like almost every major got a little bit better.
Yeah, because he played better. He finished tied for 7th at the Open after he went. He was 45th at the Masters. He missed the cut at the PGA at Valhalla. And then he had the toe issue at the U.S. Open and couldn't compete at Pinehurst.
But like, there's a ramp up because he was getting acclimated to games. In another sport you'd call it game speed.
Yeah.
It's just, I think that's the challenge for a guy like Rahm. I don't know. It's just like you always struggle in golf when you just get dropped into something that you're not necessarily ready for.
Yeah, and look, talking to the Live guys last week, they seem to be. I would say that they are for sure still trying to find a way to tweak their schedule to where it's dialed in for the majors, not just when they're playing, but where they are playing as well, to where their game is been able to be worked on in competition, needing the style of shots that they're going to need for that next major championship. So I think they're still trying to get that figured out and dialed in a way that they want, and their intention is to do that. I would say that's a fair statement.
Who's one player we haven't talked about yet that you want to touch on here?
Let me see here. Oberg continues to show that he's got what it takes.
That's something else.
Yeah. Disastrous finish. I mean, just in a stretcher the last 2 holes. I mean, he's gone triple bogey to finish the tournament.
Make it triple on 18.
I mean,
without a penalty stroke is truly amazing.
Like I said, this is the first time I'm really sort of thinking back, and I'm starting to get some memories of the whole week. Like I said, I had breakfast with John on Sunday morning. You run into Bubba, you run into Sergio, you speak to all these different players. Rory during the week, Scheffler during the week. And so I'm starting to just recollect different conversations that I had. And we just mentioned that triple bogey on 18. Oberg had a putt on the 16th green to take the outright lead. And missed it, and then went bogey, triple bogey. I mean, what
terrible bogey at 17. Yeah. That was a terrible 3-putt.
17 it's a hard hole, man.
14 and 17 are so sneaky. This is something I had in my notes from watching the telecast. Is like, if you think about 14, Rose, Rory, and Ludwig all hit bad tee shots. Ludwig got the up and down.
Yeah, McIlroy too. McIlroy was to the right on 14 and kind of couldn't get it there. Him and Oberg were in a similar spot, and Rosie's short right there.
Yeah, and they all it just it's amazing. Like, all the hoopla goes to, and rightly so, to 13 and 15. But if you can play, if you're in the mix, and you can, if you can par 14 and 17, you're going to pick up a half a shot, maybe a full shot on everybody around you, because those holes they just always trip people up.
Yeah, the golf course.
The golf course is amazing.
Golf course,
so good.
It's magnificent. It's so magnificent. There's no sleeper holes. The third hole is a lot easier than when it was in my day, right? Because hardly anybody. I mean, a few guys could maybe, but you had to rip one to cover that front that bunker on the left at 280, rip one. And you would have been like, okay, they've moved the tee a little forward. and maybe I got a little help on the southwest wind. So now I feel a bit better about carrying that bunker. For the most part, players would lay up, and then it's a tough wedge shot. But even if you drive it down to the front of the green where these guys are hitting it, you could still make a mess of that hole. The green it's such an interesting, intricate green with tiny little fingers, in the back and in the left, with enough slope to them to where it catches your attention, with enough danger if you miss them, that even with the technology change, 3 is still a hole you've got to be aware of and be careful of. But every single hole is just so good, so difficult. You have to be so precise. But when I say difficult, to me, the beauty of it is you get rewarded for playing the way you're supposed to play. And that to me is how a great golf course should be.
Every hole is achievable.
Yes.
Every hole.
Birdie every hole.
And I was looking at driving stats this was on Sunday morning. And I think this is part of it. There's guys like Zach, I think it was Zach Johnson and Aaron Rye were leading the field in driving accuracy.
Shout out to Zach, tied for 8th at 49 years old.
Incredible performance.
Amazing. Amazing.
Honestly, amazing performance. He's going to be a menace on PJ's Champions Tour.
Oh, yeah. Bernard better retire before Zach gets there.
Zach
is going to be a problem.
So their driving stats, they were at 90+%. It was 91%.
Yeah.
And when so if you play well, I'm going to be hitting from short grass into every one of those greens. And they do an amazing job with course setup where there's this give and take where there are, every day, they have this amazing ability to change a hole. I can't think of many courses in the world where you can move a hole location on almost every hole out there and change the scoring average probably close to half a shot.
Yeah, from a bogey hole to a birdie hole.
And they have this amazing versatility. And one day you go up to 14 and you're thinking, I got to make a birdie. And then they can move the pin to the, into one of the positions that's really hard. And then it becomes well, I better hit a good tee shot if I want to make a par, because if I'm not in the right spot. So, there's just this amazing versatility to it and variability where you're round the cadence of it. You settle into a tournament and you're on most courses, what's coming. And your week goes is okay, birdie, this is the stretch I go get it. This is the stretch I got to be careful of. Out there each day, the cadence is a little different based off how they set it up, where certain holes are going to take from you, and it's just disrupting that flow a little bit. But have you ever been at a bar where they do a German bar? They do the mug hold where you have to hold the mug out. You hold the mug out, and it's just basically holding a weight and keeping your shoulder extended.
Yeah.
And you see people just quivering.
Yeah.
And they're shaking, and you can see when they're going.
Yeah.
I think that's the way I think about Augusta National, particularly on the weekends, is everybody's just trying to hang on, and these guys are playing. We saw just such an extraordinary level of golf at times.
Yeah.
And they're just trying to hang on. And inevitably, the golf course just cracks them.
Sure. At some point. Yeah. Some quicker than others. But at some point, yeah. The intensity of the week is quite something to deal with. You and players, a lot of people, you want to get in there Saturday, you want to get in there Sunday, come in early, man, but it starts to get to you. There's just so much going on. Think about, I was thinking and I never realized this when I was playing, but it kind of dawned on me this year. I was eating lunch with my wife up on the balcony, as the leaders were coming out to the first tee. And I said to her, wow, this is kind of like the Kentucky Derby, or, when you go to those big horse races and the horses are like walking out as they're showing them, and then they go out onto the track. It's what it's like. It's what it's like at Augusta National, because the players are coming from the practice area and then they walk through, in the tunnel at the clubhouse, out under the big tree, and everybody's just there, dressed up, fancy hats on, jackets, and the players have to make their way through. And I was like, wow, even that moment right there, like it's an intense environment.
It's so intense.
Yeah, the excitement and the noise, the buzz. It's a lot. It's a lot for a player to have to deal with throughout the week.
I wrote this down in my notes. I don't know if you caught this. Do you know what numbers Rory and Bryson's caddies were wearing? So there was 96 players in the field last year. Yeah. And for listeners, your number as a caddy, number 1 goes to the defending champion. Every number after that goes in order of arrival.
Yeah. So Bryson was 89, was he?
89.
Yeah.
Correct.
And Rory was 81, was he?
Yeah. I just like you saying like the intensity of the week and everybody wants to get in on Sunday and do their work. Like, I wonder if there's something to, I think both of them arrived on Monday night or Tuesday morning.
Yeah. I if I was getting ready to play in the Masters, I would make the trip a week or two before. I would spend, 2 to 3 days there, just getting comfortable with all the strategy, hopefully get to play the course in 2 different wind directions. And then I would come in Monday night, and I would, or at some point Monday, get some body work, maybe have a workout, have a great meal, and then 9 Tuesday, 9 Wednesday, let's go.
The Jack didn't he show up a lot of times on Wednesday?
So what he told me that he would do is he would play the tournament the week before. So he would always go, and this is why he had an issue with the Memorial being the week before the US Open last year, because he was like, I would never have played my own tournament then, because I always took the week off before a major. And we're going to see that move for this year. So he would go the week before, and he would play 4 rounds, count every shot. So he would play the tournament against himself, against the course,
at Augusta National,
what he was doing, and everywhere, and every major championship. And the reason he did that, now at the Masters, this doesn't really come into play, but he said, you talk about the Open, the US Open, the PGA Championship, the rough would always be longer the week before, because they're still, going to be growing it in and then probably giving it that final cut the weekend before. And the greens were always firm and fast. And he felt like he really got to test himself and understand the challenges that he was about to face. And then he could figure out the strategy going into the real tournament. It's quite clever. But professional golf is, it's evolved so much now. It probably would be hard for players to do that. But maybe you could find a gap at some point to be able to go there with enough time. I think you can get it done in 2 or 3 days and really get your homework done to where you don't have to there's so many stresses on the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of a major championship and then the tournament. You just don't want to add anything to that during those final moments. You want to be trying to, it's like one of my close friends has won 3 medals swimming in the Olympics. Mm-hmm. His name is Roland Skuman, South African swimmer. And in their sport, they talk about tapering to where they do all this crazy training, but then actually coming up to the races, they taper that down to be able to have the appropriate recovery and mass and stamina and all that kind of stuff. It's almost like you need a little bit of that coming into majors.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. It's almost like you have to treat yourself well before a major.
Yeah.
Because if you come in with stress, like so much of is in particular Augusta National, I feel like it's the most stressful place to play a tournament because you have the knowing that you can score, but then if you don't hit the shots, everything becomes extraordinarily hard. It's like you just so rarely see people leave stuff dead. Like you leave putts dead.
I know.
Like you never. It's the course that you have to hole the most 3 to 4 footers.
Yeah, I mean you can hit a 9 out of 10 putt from 20 feet, and you got to get the coin out the pocket, and you got 3 feet coming back, and you're like, I mean, I've just hit this putt. Okay, it didn't go in, but I've hit this putt as good as what I possibly could, and I'm still got to fight to get out of here with a par. And that stuff, yeah, it piles up. And by the end of the week, you are, I wonder if Rory's even woken up yet. Any of these guys. I mean, Rory, Rose, Reed. How about Reed holding out one bouncer on 17?
You weren't there. This was amazing. I was standing there at that point. Nobody cheered. Nobody saw it.
Because it just disappeared so fast.
No, because the scoreboard was changing.
Oh, I gotcha. And we showed it, and he had no clue. He actually said to his caddy, "Where is that?"
He had a little block. It was a little blocky. Did it go in?
One bounce. All of a sudden, if he holds it out on 18, he would have gotten into the playoff.
Can we talk about his 3 putt from 3 feet on 13?
Yeah, that was unusual for him. I mean, he's such a great short gamer putter. He said he had struggled with his putting the first couple of days, but then started to figure it out on the weekend. But yeah, great finish, 3rd on his own. And then Scheffler does nothing the whole week, finishes 4th. Does nothing the whole week, and has still got a chance with 9 holes to play somehow after Rory's hiccup.
I got a couple rapid fire questions before we go.
Yeah.
On here. I'm kind of shooting from the hip here.
Don't worry, I've been doing that the whole time.
Shot you'll remember the most.
Oh, I don't have one. I don't have one because...
Well, that's why it's a hard question.
Yeah. McIlroy's 2 shots into 15 on the weekend were, and I mentioned this on the broadcast, they reminded me of Jack and Tiger. You know, you see all those great clips, Tiger wearing black pants, red shirt, Jack various different times, but the one that jumps out to me is, 2 that jump out to me is 1975. He's got the white pants, the green and white striped shirt. In 86, he's got the yellow shirt and he's got like plaid gray pants kind of a deal. And they make these swings with long irons from the top of the hill and immediately start charging after the ball. It's like...
It's like what you said earlier. They know. Exactly they know it's perfect.
You know, what was mind-boggling to me about Bryson, because he's staring these shots down and then they're nowhere near. But immediately, even though it's 10 yards down the hill, the wind's swirling, when they make contact with the ball, they're like, this is it. This is it. The club twirls from Tiger. You know, Jack, he's always like, he's got that shoulder move that he always used to make. And Rory did that with the 6-iron on Saturday and then the 7-iron on Sunday. Those jump out to me. Nance called it the shot of a lifetime, which was amazing. But I got to say, the wedge into 13 on Sunday, I have to remember it. It will go down as one of the poorest shots that McIlroy will hit in his career.
It's kind of eerily similar to the Spieth chunk from the drop area.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Like if it had gone the other way, it would have been that.
I kept thinking
situation?
to myself throughout the whole, I know you said this is supposed to be a rapid fire, but I kept thinking to myself the whole way through that Sunday, the moment that McIlroy is dealing with, like the magnitude of this situation, the outcomes are so polar opposite. He's either going to win, be remembered for the rest of time, or he's going to lose, and it's going to be the worst day of his life.
Yeah.
Like there's no in between. Like we talk about these other guys, Justin, 44 years old, another great opportunity, cementing Hall of Fame status. Reed, great third place. Scotty, okay, solid. Xander, 8th. Oberg getting it going. There's like a middle ground for every other player. But for McIlroy, it was either going to be you're one of the 6 greatest names that will be remembered forever, or this is going to be the worst day of your life. There was zero action in the middle at all.
And I think that's why you just saw it on his face. And I think that's why you saw just the wide range of outcomes we saw throughout his round.
Yeah.
Was just that enormity of the situation.
Yeah.
You know?
But there's so many.
Can't even imagine how it felt.
Oh, there's so many shots, though. You think of the tee shots at 1 and 2 that he hit in the third round. You think about some of the up and downs that Bryson made. You know, Bryson shot 69 on Saturday, and he hit 9 greens.
All-time scoring round. I think I said this on the shotgun start, but like Bryson gets called all these things, and at the end of the day, like I think what his superpower is he just knows how to score the golf ball. Like he's one of those players that like just gets the ball in the hole really quickly.
Yeah, he's tough, man. He doesn't quit. He's tough.
And
there is no throwing in the towel with that guy.
I would hate to play. I'd hate to play him like in a mat. Like, you know, like he's just never out of it. He's got some superhuman talents, right? But at the end of the day, the guy, like, he makes big putt. He has a knack to make putts when he needs to make putts. Yeah. And he has a knack to hit shots when he has to hit shots. And it didn't work out on Sunday, but like a situation or swing that you'll remember the most, like swing in the tournament.
Swing in the tournament.
Yeah, like moment. So situation or like grand moment in the tournament.
It has to be 13. You know, I think the whole world, when he hit it on the green on 12, everybody, you don't have to be a great golfer to know Augusta National. Just if you love golf, we've all watched it so much. We know where the pitfalls are. And on 11, when he was standing on the tee and they waited quite a lot on the second 9. I kind of foreshadowed. I was like, okay, he's now birdied 9 and 10. He's got this big lead. You know, let's start to think about the places that it can come undone. Okay, what's the water holes? It's 11, it's 12, it's 13, it's 15. And then I said 16, he doesn't have to worry about too much because with the hole back right, it would have to be a pretty rank shot to get to the water. And so I sort of foreshadowed that. And when he hit it on the green on 12, everybody on the planet must have been, that's it. That's over now. He's got 2 par 5s. It's normally where he feasts. He's made all these eagles and birdies throughout the week. And then he keeps it out of the water on his first and his second on 13. And then it all just went completely sideways. To me, that's what I remember. Big swing.
I said this on the shotgun start, but I felt like it's so easy to play Monday morning quarterback. But I thought it was a mistake to take the foot off the gas on 13 because I thought it changed the mindset of how he was playing golf.
Yeah, look, he plays better when he's being aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
But we need to be careful how we frame aggressive. Aggressive does not mean stupid.
Yeah.
Aggressive means a confident, committed swing.
with conservative targets. That's the best way to play golf.
And so I have zero problem with the strategy on 13. Zero problem. I don't mind him, turning it into a 3-shotter, but to hit that sort of a shot from 80 something yards is it brought 4 or 5 guys back into it, and the fact that we haven't even paid reference to the 3 2-shot swings in the first 4 holes shows how dramatic that 13th hole was.
I mean, this round will be talked about forever because there's so many micro moments, like little advantages that happened early in the Bryson Rory showdown segment of it, where Rory made putts first that put the pressure on Scotty. I thought that were like huge moments, whether it was 3 or 9, him getting to putt first in both those. Like, to me, that 9 was kind of a knockout punch for Bryson.
Yeah.
That was where he was like, okay, I can't beat this guy maybe today.
Yeah.
When he got to putt, and it looked like Bryson was pacing it out. Like he thought he might have been trying to hit his putt first.
Yeah, they
if
were.
You rewatch it.
They were within inches of each other distance wise. But that was a big moment right there. And then for Rory to birdie 10, I'm just looking at his scorecard here. I mean, the guy made 6 birdies and shot 1 over. 2 doubles in 1 round.
It was the full experience, the full Augusta National Rory experience, through the years. All right, real rapid fire, and then we're gonna get you out of here because I know you got Harbor Town responsibilities here. Over under 6.5 majors for Rory McIlroy.
Oh, they're not that easy to win, by the way.
No, we've seen he just got off a 11-year stride here.
That means he's got to win 2 more, so I'm going to go yes.
All right.
I listen. Go onto my X profile earlier in the season before everyone started playing. I said what I thought was going to happen. I foreshadowed Henley winning. He won Arnold Palmer. I foreshadowed McNeely. He's now playing really well, and he's going to make it to a championship. I said McIlroy was going to win a major championship. That's happened. I've said on TV, the venues this year for him are like totally in his wheelhouse. The one we're going to next, he owns Quail Hollow. He's going to be the favorite coming in there. Oakmont, you got to hit the ball like a machine. So that suits him. We know he's turned into a good putter. And then, I mean, he's going home. He's going home for the Open with the green jacket. He's going to be celebrated and received there like maybe nothing we've ever seen before. And that's just this year. Never mind the next. He seems to be fit. He seems to not get many injuries. What is he, 35 years old now?
Mm-hmm.
You got to think he's got at least another 5 years in him, the way he's looked after his body and been so disciplined with his health.
20 good majors.
I'm giving him 2 more. And I tell you why that will be special. He said last year that he has 3 goals left in his career. Winning the Masters, winning an Olympic medal, and winning an away Ryder Cup. I would add 1 more for him. He scratched one of them off this last weekend with winning the Masters. If he gets to 7 majors, he is without a shadow of a doubt the greatest European player ever to live. He's got to get past Faldo at 6. But if he gets to 7, to me, it's unquestionable. Undebatable.
All right. Rapid fire. Gotta keep.
I can't do rapid fire. Hey, listen, let me just tell you something. In my job, I'm rapid fire.
I know.
Okay?
I know.
I
That's
get like
why.
2 seconds to say something, 3 seconds to say something. When I come on one of these, you get the full experience of how I have all these thoughts in my mind, and I have to like edit it down to 5 words on TV.
Yeah.
So now you're getting the whole thing. Apologize to the listeners. But hey.
No, I don't think anybody's upset. If anything, people are upset with me. All right, over under 3.5 majors for Bryson.
Yeah, I'm going over on that as well. He's 31, super strong, and yeah, he's going to figure the irons out.
I think I'd agree with both of these so far. Over under 3.5 green jackets for Scotty.
I'm going to take the under on that one to change it up. He'll win another one.
It's mind-boggling how he did nothing and finished 4th.
Yeah, he'll win another one. He's, him and Rory are 1A and 1B right now.
All right, over under 0.5 green jackets for Ludwig.
I'll take the over on that one.
He seems perfect.
His game fits anywhere, everywhere. Demeanor, 10 out of 10. Seems to frame things up the right way. I actually said on the broadcast that he's like a mixture between Adam Scott and Roger Federer.
Yeah.
He's got like that classy, tall look, beautiful swing like Scotty. Supremely talented. So yeah, I'm going over on that. He's great.
I'm worried. I'm already worried about what we've seen with scar tissue now.
With Ludwig?
Just two kind of close calls. It's not good when you start racking up the close calls there.
Okay. I feel differently.
I'm not saying I'm going to go under. This is a brief area of concern for me.
His first 2 Masters starts, he's gone 2nd and 7th.
7th with an asterisk.
Yeah. Yeah. He had to take the lead with 2 holes to play. Yeah.
All right, Trevor, thank you so much. Killer job this weekend with coverage, and look forward to hearing you the next couple weeks. The next major, we'll have you. Yeah. So can't wait. Thanks for coming on.
Right back at you guys. Appreciate all the social media stuff, the whole team out there, the newsletters. I would once I got done with all my work, I'd be back at the house at midnight. Early mornings, reading all the stuff, making sure I was up to date with everything that was going on out on the grounds. So yeah, well done to you guys. We all need a couple days off, and then we get back on the horse. But it's great to be with you.
I haven't seen my daughter yet, so I'm gonna run in and see her after 10 days. She's apparently requesting my presence here.
Yeah,
so.
Same thing. Mine is actually on spring break this week and arriving here at Hilton Head in half an hour. So I'm looking forward to seeing my daughter too.
All right. Thank you for listening to another edition of the Friday Golf Podcast. That was fun. I don't think we're going to be done talking about that major for a long time. Big thanks to Trevor again for joining, and we'll be back next week. One of Rory winning, was really happy about that, but other big win of the week was our great photographer, videographer Cameron Hurtis, who logs tons of hours when he goes to Augusta National, photographs from basically sun up to sundown all day, every day. Also is, a huge part of all of our videos on YouTube. He won the media lottery. Cameron is a architecture nut. He's actually won the Lido competition, the Golf Digest and Mackenzie Society Lido competition, where you design a hole 3 times. He's banned from the competition. So he is he's so into golf architecture, and he is a good player, and he has spent more time roaming around those grounds the last 3 years than really, or last 2 years than me or Brendan, really any media member I know of. He's basically out there every hour, every minute he can be during the tournament. He got to play Augusta on Monday. So next week, I think we are going to have him for about 30 minutes or so talking about his takeaways from playing and another segment on the show. So we're not done with Augusta content. little slow burn here as we kind of come off this incredible high from that tournament. I mean, so many different angles of it. I think I could have talked with Trevor for 2 more hours about it. So big thanks to PJ Clark, who was on the ground. He was kind of in and out of the grounds at Augusta when we could scrounge up a ticket. But he was manning down the house and producing all of our shotgun start pods. And big thanks for him for hopping on and producing this one at a moment's notice. So PJ, get some rest, and thank you all for the support. It's a dream come true to get to go cover golf tournaments like the Masters, and none of this would ever happen if you guys didn't listen. And it's weeks like last week are the ones that make me pinch myself and really eternally grateful for getting to do what I get to do. And thank you guys for all the support through the years, and that's made it possible for us to get out there and cover these events the way we do. And we hope these are the best years of covering majors, and our coverage just continues to get better, I hope, in the coming years. So big thank you to everybody for supporting the podcast, supporting the company that we've built. We'll be back next week, and I hope you guys all have a great rest of your week.